it feels as though society and we're kind of going through the motions, and there's an emptiness. There's a sense of a loss of the sacred, a loss of something that is as deeper. You referred to it as kind of this source that would be trickling down from a god, or from something that we might be connected to that's greater than ourselves in a sense. And when I see that in a very practical way in society, I'm seeing like the defense of capitalism, right? And we're defending it with words that actually don't represent the lived experience. So you mentioned, like, we say meritocracy, we say that these things are important in culture, but they're actually not, right? We say we live in a democracy, we say capitalism is great, we say, but it's all actually not, right? And I think I'd be curious if you could comment on this. It's almost like we're looking at it at such a mental cognitive level, at such an ideological level, and we're missing that deeper sensing into what is actually here. What are we actually living in? What is actually sacred in all of this? It's easy to go on YouTube and make a 4 million view video defending capitalism, but is there any spirit in that, or is it just empty words? And I'd be curious your take on that loss of sacred, that loss of spirit.
Yeah, man, this is such an important topic. I'm glad you brought it up. Absolutely, that's exactly what it is, and which is why, let's see, I want to be concise with this because there's so many ways to take it, but I'd love to plug it into AI because this has to do with AI, right? Because
Mm.
the greater, so, you know, you have been championing embodiment through nervous system regulation and all these like vital things now for years. And that is the key right now for us to be in touch with matter and occupy it. And what I mean by that is
Hmm.
embodying and taking claim of our biology, and through that, our sense perceptions and therefore our environment. If we don't do that, then we remain stuck here in these abstractions,
Yep.
adopting other people's rules, other people's games, and playing by those rules. So a whole bunch of egregores and other things that we're tapping into, right? These constructs. When we're in the body, when we start purifying, going into the unconscious aspects that come up and start bringing in more consciousness and awareness, we start expanding in this field and this slowness of the now. And that's when we can encounter what is real beyond the refraction of the conceptual. But because so much of our culture, and this is where there may be a bifurcation, there may be a redemption that's happening, we'll see. A lot of us are doing that work to ground, to go into reality, and yet a lot of our other culture is being pulled up out into
Yeah.
these more and more abstract games of like aberrant symbols and other things, and just like signaling at things without actually
Hmm.
having any
Yep.
substance to them. And why I want to tie this to AI is because I'm sensing, intuiting for the last number of years, I've been seeing how AI is a logical outgrowth and a conclusion of this very disembodied thinking, very mind-based, shared delusion that we're in. And AI is the natural outgrowth that it's just all these incentive loops and automated processes and data processing that doesn't really, at this point in my understanding, doesn't really have spirit in an organic form that's connected to source at all
Right.
times, non-locally, right? And so AI is almost like this potentially, again, this could be good and bad, and it will be both in my opinion, but the bad part of it is it's going to be a prison of consciousness in which our already mechanized processes when we're in our own shadow are going to be ever more mechanized and
Yeah.
incentivized to structures of governance, as we know, with the technocratic push. So it's very interesting how reality is mirroring to us where our collective consciousness is.